brilliant. It's a hero maximum. On the ground, down the ground, another hero maximum.
Righto, welcome back to your Cricket World Cup wrap-up, part 3. This is the Maximum Cricket Podcast. On today's show, we discuss New Zealand and Pakistan's perfect 2-0 start, including a world record from Pakistan. And we also discuss England, just reminding everyone how good they are. My name is Munter, and I am joined, as always, by Lugsy. No Jacko tonight again, still probably 18 beers deep on a work trip. But we have got ourselves a familiar fill-in. It's our England correspondent living in New Zealand. We asked him to review the England-New Zealand game, but he wasn't keen for some reason. I'm not too sure why. We'll get to the bottom of that later on, I'm sure. But sure enough, he's here to talk about an England win. Funny that. Luke, Skade, welcome back to the show. How are we feeling about this World Cup 2 games in?
I mean, the World Cup as a whole is amazing to have back. Just cricket every night. It's just a shame now I live in a country where it's impossible to watch any sport. But no, England, we're back again. It's beautiful. That's why I'm back on here.
Nice. And Lugsy, I think we were talking about it the other night. It's just beautiful to have just meaningful games of cricket every night. And teams you're not sort of always watching, but these games just mean a little bit more, don't they?
Yeah, well, that's absolutely, that's the best part of World Cup. I echo what Luke said, is just cricket on each night, just good to have. And then, yeah, you just pay a bit more attention to these sort of games you normally wouldn't. Tell you what, we need just a couple more of these 6 o'clock start games. They're perfect. Just get that first innings in. And then watch your highlight package at the end. So, yeah, it's good stuff. And as you say, just a bit of meaning to every game really helps the interest.
Yeah, 100%. So 3 games have been on since we last recorded. We're going to go back to the New Zealand-Netherlands game where the Netherlands won the toss. They opted to bowl first. Some odd criticism from some pundits, and we might touch on that later on. Hyderabad has been flat, and with the dew, in theory, it should be getting easier to bat second. They started well, bowling 3 successive maidens, but out of nowhere, Conway and Will Young raced out to 63 without loss from the first 10. Conway fell in the deep for 32. Man of the match from the last game, Rachin Ravindra, got the score to 144 for 1 until Young fell for a very beautiful-looking 70. That's the thing about Will Young. He does look good. You see the potential there. Nice to see him make 70-odd. Ravindra, he made a runnable 51 to continue his good form. Daryl Mitchell, very nice-looking 48 off 47. Very dominant down the ground as always. And Latham made 53 off 46 to give New Zealand a launch pad. Mitch Santner put the final nail in the innings with a rapid 36 off just 17, including 21 off the last over to give New Zealand a very competitive 322 off their 50. In reply, Netherlands just never really got going. I didn't feel like they actually tried, to be fair, which we might touch on later on. They had small partnerships, but nothing substantial. The run rate was always pretty low. Colin Ackerman was the best with 69 of 73. New Zealand bowlers were just able to chip away at the Dutch, and they were all out for 223. Pick of the bowlers was Henry with 3 for 40, looking very good with the new and old ball. Mitch Santner, who took his the first 5-wicket bag by a New Zealand spinner at a World Cup with his 559. New Zealand win by 99 runs, and in the end, they tick another box. Lugsy, I guess what's our biggest takeaway from this match? I think we discussed probably at the start of the first innings, what does Will Young have to do to not get dropped with Kane coming back in this Bangladesh game? Do we think he's done enough? Is 70-odd against Netherlands, is that enough?
It's probably not. To be fair, it's probably not Kane who's going to take his spot. Like, Kane's going to find a spot regardless. So if you're picking Will Young, you're dropping someone lower order, aren't you? And you're stacking your batting a wee bit. Because Kane, it's not Kane or, if it's Will Young playing, it's not going to be Kane to miss out, is it? So that is probably my biggest takeaway from the game. I think perfect perfectly summed up with just ticks another box for us. There'll be a few disappointing factors from it. We probably fell a bit short of them, what we could have got. Fell away at the end before Santner sort of got us to that total, but did everything we needed to with the ball. So my biggest takeaway really at the moment is around who is our best 11. If you've got Ratchin, Will Young, Tim Southey, Ish Sodi, sort of those four guys, I wonder who makes our best 11 at the moment out of those four. That's sort of what I'm focusing on with New Zealand at the moment. Who is our best 11?
Yeah, there's a few options coming in there. Like obviously Neesham's still to come in the side. Southey is fit, didn't get a run. Sodi seems to be out of favour. He'll probably come back in when there's a bit more spin in the wicket. But yeah, obviously Williamson's probably going to come in that top order, and then Will Young would probably, well, he could miss out, or they might stack the batting, like you said. Luke, as a non-fan of this New Zealand side, having seen England absolutely dust them up in a bilateral series, are you surprised with how New Zealand have hit the ground running this World Cup?
I think you guys have talked about it before in terms of you guys being a great tournament team. I think that's pretty much exactly what you want from a game against the Netherlands. You've got 4 or 5 people contributing, having decent knocks, just finding your feet, getting used to the conditions. I mean, you were finalists in our last World Cup, and we weren't on our day. And I think you're the type of team. I think you're always going to perform at a level. And if people aren't up at it against you, then you'd back yourselves massively, whoever you're playing against.
Yeah, 100%. What about the Dutch guys? They've lost 2 games. They've been sort of competitive, but I guess with the 50 over format, they're just sort of struggling to stay in the fight for the whole 100 overs. Do we see them tipping up a side? Have they got more, I guess, firepower to come? Lugsy, what are your thoughts?
I don't see. I see obviously Afghanistan's going to be their chance. I don't see them tipping up any of the heavyweights. I think, as you say, they haven't in these 2 games disgraced themselves by any means. They've showed a bit in both games. But as I talked about last time, like they've just got to stay good for 100 overs, and I just don't think they've got that in them at the moment. When you're playing guys like Conway and that, guys they don't play regularly, like their margin for error is just so much smaller than they'll be used to playing. You just got to be right on all the time, and I just don't think they're there yet. For sure. Lastly, I'd love to sort of just touch on Ian Smith on the commentary box, who I don't know what he was on. It did feel like I'm not sure if he didn't want to be there or he just had a dinner reservation, but he was just on fire, really not enjoying that stumping, no ball from Latham. And then just sort of later on, I think afterwards, there was a review from the Netherlands, which was stone cold. And he basically said, we're never getting out of this place, which he's just... What I love about Smithy is he commentates like a fan. Like he is, it's like us commentating. That's what it feels like. And sometimes with that, he might say the wrong thing, but that's why we love him. Just anything you got on Smithy there, Lugsy? I think, he perfectly balances getting the big moments right and brings a real serious element to some parts of cricket. And then can really just loosen up when he's with the right guy and sort of bring like a sort of like fans level of excitement to the game. Just watches it like with that sort of joy still for the game. So yeah, perfect for me. I just watching a clip randomly of when Jesse Ryder hit his rental car. Just came up on Facebook. Just perfect stuff from Smithy. He's he's our favourite son, really, isn't he? In the box.
Beautiful. Luke, you must be chomping at the bit to talk about this England game, I bet. Let's break it down for you.
Can I just say one last thing about New Zealand? I'm already over us being like favourites now and 2 from 2 and the front dog. Like Peter, I mean, it's already got me too nervous. We need to settle right back into our role as sort of that slipping under the radar side.
Well, we've got a what have we got? We've got Afghanistan, Bangladesh coming up, so there's a genuine chance we're 4-0, which is not gonna help those sorts of operations. So England, Bangladesh. There was 2 games in one night. Obviously, we talked about the 6 o'clock start in New Zealand. It was a day game. Bangladesh decided to chase leather against England, who made one change to their side. Reece Topley in for Moeen Ali. David Milan and Johnny Bairstow got off to a flyer. 115 for the opening wicket off just 18 overs. Bairstow the first to go for 52. They just brought in Joe Root, who managed to continue the momentum with the quietest 82 off just 63 balls you'll ever see. But the star was, of course, David Milan. 140 off just 107 balls. England were looking at 400 plus at times, but to Bangladesh's credit, they held firm in that last 10 to restrict England to 364 off their 50. In reply, Bangladesh not in the contest. 49 for 4 with the first 3 wickets coming from a rampant Reece Topley, who just added a little more firepower to England's bowling attack, which lacked a bit of bite in that first game. Bangladesh managed to get through to 227 all out with Lyndon Das top scoring with 76, but the damage was done early in that first power play. Reece Topley finishing with 443 off his 10. Luke, is this just England just reminding everyone just how good they were? Much improved performance with bat and ball.
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting back to it. I remember messaging you that it's important to lose to a minnow in a World Cup based on the last few World Cups in different sports to get you over the line. You got Argentina, Saudi Arabia. We lost to Ireland in the last World Cup, in the T20 World Cups, and it's a shame that you guys have become minnows, but it's all right. Bodes pretty well for us. But on a serious note, it's nice. I think one of the big changes for the start with Milan coming in for Roy is it was an electric start after sort of 15 overs, but it's a lot more measured and it built nicely that sort of first 6-7 overs instead of having to go from ball one. Root in India, he's got to be in any team. He's always going to perform out there, and it looked a really nicely balanced team. When you look at the total we end up on and the platform that we had set, and then Livingston, Brook, Butler, none of them really got going. It could have easily been a 400 score that if another person ticks over nicely. So no, it's a good place to be in.
Just on David Milan, I'm really intrigued on what the public perception is of him, because if you look at him on paper, he's one of the world's best white ball players, maybe ever. He constantly scores quick hundreds in all formats, but then you watch him, and there's something about him that just doesn't. It's not the same. Like, it just doesn't look brutal, but in the end, like, the runs do stack up. And it always feels like he's a couple of performances away from being dropped, even though he averages like 150. What's it like being a fan of England? And are you a big fan of David Milan, or are you like a Jason Roy when need brash ego at the top of the order?
Oh, I think you know me pretty well, Matt. I'm a Jason Roy, Alex Hales type of man.
Cats, yeah.
There's not as much flair, but no, I didn't realise actually how dominant he's been in one day cricket. I mean, it's his 400 this year. Yeah. And Ian Bell scored 4 ODI hundreds in his career.
That's something.
So no, he's quality. He just doesn't. He's just quiet and gets about his business. I think we spoke about it when Wokes came in to the Ashes squad. They do their job and they get about their business, and they don't steal headlines. But he's an incredible cricketer. I'm just 65. He's he's bossing it, but could do with a couple taps. And then
full sleeve, obviously. Lugsy, before this game, we kind of suggested this game might be a bit closer We said it possibly could have been closer. We wouldn't go all the way. We're not going to be kind of worst take artists, but this just is a reminder of just how good a side England can be on their day.
Yeah, I think you're lumping me in with you there. I think I've certainly picked them. I've picked them not, and I'll say that for now. But what I will, if you think I'm surprised, absolutely not. You said last time, I'm not worried about their batting at all because that will cost talent. Same with Australia. I'm not, highly about their chances in this World Cup, but I'm not going to be surprised when they put 400 on the side from England. There's too much talent in that batting lineup, not for them to get it right a lot and score massively. So, good reminder, a wee flicks of their muscles.
Yeah, and I thought the other thing that the other big part of this England side was the bowling and the addition of Reece Topley. I think they really missed that new ball threat, and Reece Topley gives them a new ball threat. Like, he's 140k, he's a left arm, he moves it around. Like, some of those deliveries were unbelievable, and I think he's got to play most games in it. With no Archer, he's quite a key asset. What are your what did you like about Reece Topley there, Luke?
I think firstly, say he was to not get into your back at 11 or even at 6'7" and that lid. But no, that ball to Shakib was unplayable. And I think we've showed how well he bowled with Wokes struggling at the other end as well. That's probably an area concern for me. Wokes hasn't looked great, so whether we balls to the wall and we get Wood and Topley to open for us and try and steamroll. With Topley, you're just worried whether he's going to stay fit. It's a real concern for us, but no, he's an incredible bowler.
Yeah, I think he really stood out just with the size of him and the way he swung it. Because I think one of the most important things in one-day cricket now is sort of you've got to take some wickets up top. It's really the only thing that can hold teams back now from getting big scores is you got to get wickets. So get them up top in that power play really, I think, is important. So a strike bowler like him, as you say, Munter, I think has to be picked at the.
For sure. Okay, let's move on to our last game, or what's happened last night. Probably the closest game so far in the World Cup had Sri Lanka batting first against Pakistan. Sri Lanka got off to a flyer, 3 out of the top 4 passing 50, including 2 making tons. Nasanko made 51, while the true star, Kusal Mendes, was unbelievable, and we'll touch on him later. He's becoming a real star. 122 of just 77 balls had Pakistan on their knees. When he was dismissed, the score was 218 for 3 off just 29 overs. Sri Lanka looking like 400 easy. Sadira also made a beautiful 108 off 89, but wickets were just falling around him. Sri Lanka only made 50 off the last 10 overs as they sort of limped through to 344 for 9. Pakistan, to their credit, bowled well in that final 10. Hassan Ali took 4 wickets. For Pakistan to win, it was going to be the highest chase in a World Cup. And the chase started poorly. The top 2 ranked batters, Imam Al-Haq and Bubba, were out early with the score at 37 for 2. But then Abdullah Shafiq and man of the match, Mohammad Rizwan, put on a match-winning 176 for the 3rd wicket. Shafiq made a glorious 113 off 103 balls when he was dismissed. Was still 130 odd to get, but then Rizwan took over, battling all sorts of cramp. It was some Mark Richardson stuff there. He put on 70 odd with Shaquille, and then Iftikhar smashed 22 off 10. Rizwan was not out in the end, 131 off just 121, as he battled cramp, as I talked about numerous times, to take Pakistan over the line by 6 wickets and 10 balls to spare. Like I said, the highest chasing a World Cup. Impressive stuff in a canter. Lugsy, Pakistan just building nicely enough ahead of the massive game against India this weekend. What did you take away from this game?
Yeah, the first takeaway was I really felt for Sri Lanka. Well, it's just they had to win one of these first two games. You can't score 300 twice and lose in the end pretty comfortably both times. Obviously, the first one being a huge loss. So they're trying everything right with the bat there. As you say, I think they fell 50 short, and probably really again those last few hours cost them the game in the end. But Pakistan, yeah, they're just doing the right things, aren't they? They've got a good combination. They didn't have it exactly right with the ball by any stretch. I think they'll want to improve a bit there. They've got some serious talent with the bat. Rizwan was almost Kohli-esque the way he was just timing that run chase to perfection. Thought, when he went down with cramp in the wee Sri Lankan keeper out there, I thought there was a chance for him maybe to, wrap a leg in a sharpshooter and, with 10 overs to go, let's cause a bit of chaos. And I thought get a bit of dog in some of these Sri Lankans. But fair play from Pakistan. I got up for that last 10 overs just seeing the score, and they made it look quite easy.
Yeah, there's just Pakistan are just ticking along quite nicely. And I think it's pretty crucial that they are, they've won their first two games and Babar Azam hasn't made any runs. And I think that's either means one or two things. Babar's going to have a stinker or he is due, and Pakistan are a serious side. Luke, what do you think of Pakistan? Are they semi-finalists? Is this just a good start? What do you think they can go all the way?
See, I don't know if I'm taking read games slightly different for you two have, because I had Pakistan down. Well, I had to put it on them to win the whole thing.
Wow, that's high.
Maybe third. Yeah, strong. But I look at these first two games and fancy them less because they've won two games from losing positions. And I don't think you can sort of play like this against any of the big boys and get real far. You don't have the chances, so many chances to get yourself back into a game. It's a record-breaking total, but for 50 less than a month ago and lost the last game by 100 runs. And being 38 for 3 against Never. I don't know, maybe I'm seeing it wrong, but I'm a bit more concerned about them now.
No, it's a fair point because you are talking they're 2-0, but they've beaten the Netherlands and Sri Lanka, who I don't think many people were picking either side to make the semis. So you're right, it's not like they're knocking over big sides. And I suppose I guess for me it's the fact that they're doing it without Babar making runs. It's not, if it was just Babar Azam and Imam Haq doing all the runs, I think there's a bit in there in the fact that you've got Rizwan making runs, you've got Shafiq making runs, Iftikar's doing a bit, Shakil, there's a few people sort of making runs. I think potentially their bowling's still an issue, they are leaking runs like a sieve. For whatever reason, their spinners just aren't taking wickets. But obviously, the big test is going to be against India this weekend. That's going to be the litmus test to see where they are at, I guess. What about Sri Lanka? That's, I think, Lugsy, like you said, they really had to win one of those games minimum. It's going to be tough, 0-2 down to sort of make the semis now. But there's a lot to like Kusal Mendes. And this is why the World Cup's great, because I don't watch a lot of Sri Lanka, and unless I play New Zealand, basically. But now, he's a star. He's a genuine star. He's basically made 200 runs this tournament in 100 balls. And he's just destroying attacks. And good attacks as well. South Africa and Pakistan. These are some of the best pace attacks in the world, and he is destroying them. So it's just great to see. What are you making of Mendes? There, Lugsy, sorry.
Yeah, I think I messaged through last night, early on in his innings, just what a fun watch he is. He's been the real highlight for Sri Lanka in these first two games. Just picks up length unbelievably quickly. Anything that just drops slightly short is just over the rope. So, yeah, he's been a real standout for Sri Lanka. As I said before, I think they'll be pretty disappointed to post 300 a couple of times and have nothing to show for it. And I think in this format, unfortunately, with still, some big teams to play, I think they'll really struggle to make any noise now. So it is good to see that a couple of their big guys are standing up.
100%. Lads, anything else you just want to touch on this game, or do we want to go to our worst take?
I did enjoy when I was having a look at this morning, trying to see what had happened in the game, how Shahid Afridi tweeted about the game, tagging up Pakistan Cricket Board, congratulating them, tagging Rafiq and Rizwan for incredible knocks, and then just bowling needs to be tighter.
It's not wrong.
I'll tell you what was
just
pumping
tyres up and that. Yeah.
I'll tell you what was great to see. Just a classic cricket thing of the old drop catch and Shaheen Afridi, one of the great death stares last night. Just a classic. Didn't move from the top of his mark. Real death stare.
Tell you what, now that you brought it up, there were some horrendous drop catches in this game. Like a lot of, I would say, 4 or 5 drop catches and relatively simple ones. So that's disappointing stuff. Very disappointing stuff. Righto, it's time. Worst take, a segment where we listen or read statements made on the internet or TV that either they don't make a whole lot of sense or they've just aged horrendously. If you do want to play at home, please send us all your receipts of people saying some terrible things. Leave a comment also if we're the ones doing it. We are not above the worst take at all. So I've got a couple of nominations here, and then we'll sort of hand over to you fellas. I've got one here. I can't remember his last name, but his first name is Sanjay, Indian commentator. He's commentating in the New Zealand-Netherlands game, talking about Will Young and I guess his form. He was like, Will Young has made 200s versus the Netherlands. So it'd be interesting to see if he could carry that form to this game. Now, I'll remind you that those games against the Netherlands were probably over a year ago. So I don't know if that form translates because there's, dozens of games of cricket in between, but fuck, who knows?
This is a real pet peeve of Matt Hunter's, eh?
It's a fucking, it doesn't make any. Well, there was a Rohit Sharma one where it was like, could he carry his form against Pakistan? There was like 4 years in between bats, and it was like, that's what the fuck does like form? That's not form. That is not form at all. We've got a couple from Matty Hayden, who was he was on fire. He really was the big doss. This is more like I don't really know what this means at all. So in the Sri Lanka Pakistan game, he's talking about how well Rizwan's batting, and he said Rizwan can park my car anytime in my garage because that is like a glove. So I actually, if anyone knows what that means, please do tell me, because it feels like he's got 2 different lines and he's meshed them up.
Yeah. He went from the obvious good drop and then just chuck something out and then mix it.
It's fucking great. It's good stuff. Another one after Rizwan, he had a 6, and then he like cramped up straight away. His leg just sort of like went under him. He fell over, Mark wrist and stuff. And then he sort of mentioned that he thought the ball had cramped up also because it'd been smashed so hard. That's not how cramps work. It's a ball, doesn't have muscles. Come on, that's just ridiculous. And then this is another one. I think there's some politics in this other one because it's Ramesh Raja, who was a former Pakistan he was the president of the Pakistan Cricket Board. Babar Azam, he was strangled down the leg side. Notoriously unlucky dismissal. And Ramesh Raja has gone. He's had that coming. He's been a bit reckless up to that. And it's like, don't know if that relates. But okay. Thanks, Ramesh. Those are my nominations. Anything else there, fellas? Lugsy, you got any?
Well, I don't know if it's a worst take or what should be a worst take, but I love just the not really addressing the crowds from anyone in comms and not addressing that the outfields are somewhat horrendous at times here. Like, it's real minding the P's and Q's in someone, and someone needs to just go off at some point.
Yeah, I mean that's your job stuff. I remember when do you remember when there was the India England series and the pitches were obviously Bunsen burners, and I think Mark Butcher went off on the pitch and like he was never to be seen again. I think Mark Waugh had that sort of run in with Dinesh Karthik, catch you later. Like that's your job essentially. Smithy will do it.
Oh, it's very easy to say from the comfort of the Maximum Cricket podcast, but finish your livelihood.
We can't be cancelled yet at all. Luke, have you got any takes for the show?
Just the general British English feeling on when the selection debate was Milan, Roy, and Brooks, and I'm not sure there's too many people out there that had Milan even second in that. A lot of vibes-based selection over in England. So maybe we should look more at cricket and base. But I'll put myself in that category as well.
There's not many Milan stands.
It was not the common opinion. No fan accounts.
Yeah, that's a good one. Righto. Okay, let's wrap her up for this episode. That's another World Cup wrap up in the books. These games just keep on rolling. India, Afghanistan tonight, and Australia, South Africa before our next episode. This episode brought to you by our lovely Patreons who fund the show, and in the process, they get all access. This World Cup is 3 shows a week. Only 2 of them will be on your regular podcast feeds. If you want the other one, check out patreon.com/maximumcricket for more. Alternatively, it's a harder word than it needs to be. Feel like I could say that better.
Hard to spell as well.
Yeah, it's just a niggly one. But you get my drift. You could get all 3 for free on YouTube if you are that way inclined. Thanks to Lugsy as always, and a big thank you for Luke for stepping into Jacko's shoes. Righto, boys, we will catch you later on.
Catch you, boys. Thanks, mate.
Gotcha.